We're going to talk about something that's very important today that has to do with storing wealth over the long term so that it doesn't depreciate, doesn't lose purchasing power, and maintains your ability to thrive, not just survive. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and introduce myself really quickly here, because it's good for you to know who I am. So I basically have been trading for a very long time. I've been in the financial markets, stocks, options, commodities, forex, crypto for well, not crypto, but everything else for 28 years, but crypto for the last 6 years. I've written articles about them. I've been consistently accurate. I've won competitions trading, first place in the world for a stock trading competition at the age of 21. So I've been around the block. I fired my financial advisor at the age of 15. I've been a keynote speaker at multiple presentations around the world, speaking about finance and trading and how to become the top 1% of all traders literally during the one presentation. And so now I continue to teach people how to benefit from markets, whether they're moving up or down. We don't care what direction they're moving. As long as they're moving, we can make money. And this is especially important during these times when there is a lot of economic uncertainty, and you could even say turmoil. But the good news is that you can actually profit regardless of the direction. So even if things are going down, you can make money. If markets are going down harder, you can actually profit even harder. So it's an even better opportunity. So there are ways to learn different signals and different flags that warn you when things are about to go down. And so this is something that I teach people. You can actually see here back in 2006 and 7, I was warning people about the Great Recession. I actually paid for hotel rooms. I wasn't selling anything. I was just strictly teaching, maybe consider getting on the sidelines for real estate and stocks. So again, in 2018, I made a post here of the top 50 reasons why the market is about to crash and what you can do about it to position yourself, not just to protect yourself, but also prosper in any market conditions. So that's what we're here about, surviving, not thriving. And so today, I'm going to talk about something that's really important in terms of finances, and that is, how do you acquire gold and silver, and what is the cheapest way to do so? All right. So if you understand wealth for, I've been in the game for quite a long time. And so what I want to do is I'm actually going to ask you a question. All right. So what is the value of a $20 bill? All right. So in other words, let's say that if I took a $20 bill and I were to represent the whole money supply on the planet with this $20 bill in my hand, what would it mean if suddenly we had two $20 bills? Overnight, I printed double the money supply in the world. Well, you can see that initially you have a $20 bill and that can buy you maybe a dozen eggs. But if all of a sudden I introduce a second $20 bill, now all of a sudden there's still the same amount of eggs. What happens to the price of those eggs? They've gone now to $40. Okay, so if you double the amount of paper chasing the same amount of goods or services, that's why we see prices going up. In other words, if we were to keep it at $20, now we can only buy half as many goods and services. So this is why it's literally, inflation is a sort of a taxation, right? And so you have to be aware of this when it comes to, first and foremost, before we go into where to go buy gold and silver, we want to understand why we're doing it. Buying gold and silver will maintain that you can always buy the same amount of goods all the time, regardless of how much paper money is being printed out there in the world. So here's another example. How much can you buy with 20 bucks? Well, you can see that back in 1998, you could go to the grocery store and fill up an entire shopping cart full of groceries with just 20 bucks. Now, if you fast forward to 2005, the same $20 bill in your pocket, which, you haven't changed the number of $20 bills in your pocket, it's still there. It's now buying you half a shopping cart full of groceries. You continue on almost a decade later, and a $20 bill in 2014 would give you the equivalent of maybe just a handful of goods in that shopping basket. So I have a question for you. What will that $20 buy you next year in 2023? Or perhaps you're watching this video in 2023 and you already know what it can buy you. And that, who can take a guess, type it in the chat. how many goods do you think you'll be able to buy with the single $20 bill? Because if you answered one, that's actually incorrect. You'll be able to buy nothing. Okay. And so I'm going to explain why that is right now. So if you look back 100 years, actually 109 years, the purchasing power of the dollar has already lost 99% of its value. Okay, so this was since the creation of the Federal Reserve, which is ironic because one of their mandates was to maintain the value of the purchasing power of the dollar. Well, they failed miserably. So that was a big flop. And so makes you wonder, what was the real purpose behind creating the Federal Reserve? But we'll get into that on another call. So you can see if this has been the trend over the last 100 years, you have to understand one thing. Things are not getting better. They're getting worse when it comes to the global economy, meaning that they have to take more drastic measures, not less, to keep propping up the stock markets and real estate markets, and financial institutions all in general are the ones that are doing the most manipulating when it comes to the economic situation. So let's take a look now at that same dollar over the same 100 years. That's the green line that's lost pretty much all of its value already. Those that are in the know already know it's worth toilet paper. It's just a matter of time that there's a race to who dumps it faster while it still has some perceived value. Meanwhile, take a look at this gold line. This is the price of gold. Now, or you can see it's 50x, 60x, 70x. They don't even measure it in 100%, like the left line, which is the US dollar losing 100% of its value. This is 1,000%, 2,000%, 3,000%, 5,000%, 7,000% that we're talking about the price of gold going up. Why? Because gold is measured in currently US dollars per ounce. So if the fiat paper money goes to become worthless officially on the TV, how many of those 10,000 pieces of worthless papers will you now need to buy that same amount of gold? Much like the example we had with the eggs. So this is coming, and those that have studied finances for a long time, perhaps even some of the professors don't teach this as much as they should, because this is something that is very, very important. And I'm talking to some of the students taking finance, and they're not studying all of the things that they should be. Here's an example why. Over the last 100 years, you can see how many fiat currencies maintained a higher purchasing power than gold. Gold, by the way, is that yellow line up at 100 that you can see that it has actually lost 0 purchasing power over this entire duration. Okay, so to give you an idea, this is actually, you can see that gold maintained 100% of its value over extended period of time. In fact, it has maintained its store of value over 5,000, not 500, but 5,000 years. You used to be able to buy a pair of moccasins and an outfit with 1 ounce of gold. And guess what? I'm wearing a tie right now. You can go buy a suit and a pair of shoes with 1 ounce of gold, which is about $2,000 right now. So over thousands of years, it's maintained its value. Whereas all these other paper currencies, you can see compared to the price of gold, how much weaker they are. So it makes you wonder, what percent do you think people have gold right now and silver in their possession when it comes to maintaining their net worth? Because back in the 80s, you used to walk into a financial advisor. By the way, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Anything I say is strictly education purposes only. Don't hold us liable for anything we say on this call. But you can see that back in the 80s, a financial advisor would say automatically you have to put 10% of your money into gold. And now let's introduce ourselves and see who you are and your risk tolerance and what we can invest in. 10% was automatic. These days, we barely have 2% of people's net worths in precious metal. The reason I bring that up is because we're going to see that come back. And when that comes back, you're going to see the price spike even more drastically, as if it wasn't good enough already, that you're going to need more of these cheaper, worthless pieces of paper chasing the physical, tangible metal that has been good money for thousands of years. So just to give you an example, even in recent times, same thing. You can see some of the top traded currencies here. We have here US dollar, euro, Great British Pound, Japanese Yen since 1971. Who can tell me what happened in 1971? I don't have a picture of this one, but basically it was the last year that a US dollar said on the note that it is redeemable in silver or gold. Okay, so the gold standard, we got off the gold standard. Nixon said that we can no longer pay our obligations, so we're going to have to temporarily suspend, which we still have to this day suspended, the convertibility of those pieces of paper representing gold up until 1971. Now it's just representing in God we trust, and good luck. And hopefully you'll get something for this paper one day, but we're not promising you anything anymore. But the perception is over 50 years, people forgot what happened in 1971. So just so you know, if I'm going to be single-handedly waking up as many people as possible of what happened in 1971, over 50 years ago, do you think that people will start being concerned? And if they are concerned, what happens? Well, I'm going to get to that in a couple slides. We're going to see what happens when people all of a sudden go to the bank together to get their money out at the same time. But first, I want to cover even the last 20 years. So you can see here, even in since 2000, you can see the debasement of fiat currencies. Doesn't matter which one you look at. Yeah, you know, you got even Swiss franc in there, which was the last one sort of backed by gold. They've all depreciated. We started at 100 to go down to below 20% of its value. And this was just up until 2021. It's even lower now because, as people know, most of the debasement happened in the last 24 months. Well, we'll get to that also in a second. So which would you prefer to have? After what we just said, what is the difference between money and currency? Okay, so we can see here that money is tangible. Tangible means you can hold it in your hand and you literally have to pry it out of my fist, and good luck with that. Or it's a piece of paper that you can literally rip up and burn and crumple up and stomp on, and it only has value if more people believe it has value. You know, technically it's a Ponzi scheme because you need the bigger sucker to buy it off of you, and if they don't, then it's nothing. So now you can see currency is just a certificate, a receipt, an IOU, a promise to deliver you money in the future. Believe me, I promise to do so, even though I'm a complete stranger. So that's what we're talking here when we're talking about what is the difference between fiat currency. And I now always use those two words together. Fiat currency. I never say currency anymore. I like to say fiat currency or money. It's not one and the same. So here's an example of, if you don't believe me that this is going to happen, well, it's already happened. Back in Weimar Republic in Germany, we already had this, that in 1923, here you can see workers lining up because they had to be given time off work during the day. They actually got paid twice per day because their paycheck would be worthless by the end of the day. So they would actually have to go, this is, by the way, a lineup to go buy bread. So you can also see here a lady, it was cheaper to shove paper currency, fiat currency, into the fireplace than it was to try to go buy firewood, which is very abundant, by the way. But nonetheless, it's cheaper to burn the paper than it is to try to buy firewood. You can see here also some children playing with the paper as a toy, and also having to forget about carrying a wallet. You need a wheelbarrow just to get around with your paper money. So that's not the only example. You think maybe this is because it's World War II or something, or World War I. No, we recently had the situation in Venezuela where literally it was not worth the time to bend over and pick up a piece of paper, currency promise IOU, worthless because no one believes in it anymore, off the ground. These are photos of, they're not doctored, they're actual pictures of stuff that happened. And to maintain any value whatsoever, people had to weave gift baskets out of those notes so that they can try to sell them for something. On the chart here, we can actually see how long it took for the currency here, the Bolivar, to lose 99% of its value against $1 US. So you can see it starts off quite wide, and then it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. First, it took 4 years. By the way, 4 years is a short amount of time for a currency of any country to lose 99% of its value. Well, it happened. It happened between August 2012 and October 2016. That's not that long ago. Then, right after that, it only took 14 more months, just shy over a year, to lose another 99% of its value. And then that repeated again and again and again, 10 months later, 10 months later, and 17 months later, to the point where no one even wanted it anymore, because they can see when it's probably too late that they can just go throw it on the street because they waited for the television to tell them that it's no longer worth anything. But congratulations for being here on the Wealth Call, on the WealthTribe THRIVEFOLUTION, because we're teaching you what you need to know before it matters, before CNN announces it on TV. That's when everyone goes on the street to dump it like this. That's when you're going to have empty grocery shelves. Then it'll be too late to do something about it. So I commend you for watching this video. Thank whoever brought you here or to show you this video. You're going to be in a position to maybe be prepared and do something about this. And we're going to show you something you can do today to be prepared for this situation. So people walk by this stuff, don't be in the same situation. Get rid of it now while you can and exchange it for something else. So another example I'm going to give you is Zimbabwe. What we had here is at the peak of the inflation, which means just money printing really, is that we saw, guess how much? Type in the chat, what do you think was the rate of inflation at the peak? And this was in 2008, the Great Recession, not that long ago. This was like just over a decade ago. What do you think is the rate of inflation that we saw in 2008, November, for Zimbabwe? I'll give you a hint. You needed to have one shopping bag full of these notes to fill up your car full of gas. The very next day, you needed 2 shopping bags full of these notes to fill up the gas. So you can see at the peak, it was 98% per day. But in total, that adds up to 79.6 billion% inflation. All right. To give you an idea, you can see this gentleman having to carry 1 wheelbarrow. The very next day, he had to bring his friend to bring a second wheelbarrow to go buy the same amount of goods. All right. So I'm going to stop the share for 1 second here. I'm going to show you. I actually have one of these notes on me. Right. So you can probably see here. I'm going to make sure I'm spotlighted. And you can see that we actually have not 100 billion. How many zeros are there? Oh, there we go. $100 trillion note. So you can see it with your own eyes. All right. That's a lot of zeros. All right. And so to give you an idea, when you have $100 trillion, this, you're thinking, oh, well, that's in Zimbabwe. Yeah, someone risked their life to take this across the border to not let people know what's going on there. By the way, Bitcoin actually went up to $100,000 already at one point in Zimbabwe. If you bought Bitcoin in Zimbabwe, it actually has already hit 100,000 at one point. But now what I want to show you is that this is happening in the United States of America. All right. So I have this sheet of paper here that I've actually been using for the last 25 years to teach people that this printing press is nonstop printing day in, day and night, 24 hours a day. These printing presses are going. How many of these dollars do you think are actually printed though? Only 5% of US currency is even though I can put it in my hand. I could literally cut this up and spend it in the shop. These are real dollars. If I try to print fake ones, I would go to jail. But the government, not the government, the Federal Reserve, which is a private corporation that lends money to the government and charges them interest. I don't know where they get the interest from to pay it back besides borrowing even more money from them. But that's not the point. The point is that this currency is now being printed so much, so drastically, that it is now to the point where I would much rather have this. This is silver. This has been money for 5,000 years. We already saw how long the average man-made currency lasts. It all goes back to its intrinsic value. The ink and paper it's printed on, and only 5% of it is printed. The rest is just typed into a computer. So I'll resume my share screen here, and I'll show you next, just how much of that printing press has been going on. So here you have a money supply tracker in the United States called the M1 money supply. And this is not a glitch. This is an actual chart where this piece up here, you can see the spike. I was not joking when I've said that over 80% of all US dollars ever printed in all of humanity history was just in the last 2 months. We had 80% of all US dollars printed. So going back to that shopping cart and eggs example, do you think that the dollar has any value? It only has value if people believe it does. And most people still believe it does somewhat. But I will tell you that the sophisticated financial people and countries, and you're going to have Saudi Arabia, China, Iran, Russia, all these countries, India, they're going to be racing each other to dump the US dollar. In fact, I think they're crazy for not already doing so. We're at that point in history why I decided, you know what, it's about time I needed to come on and do a presentation about this particular topic, because I've been known to accurately predict economic crashes, and also before they happened, and also what to do during them. So consider yourself lucky for knowing that this has already happened. I'm not making this stuff up, yet we've already seen banks start seizing capital. We've seen banks have outages. We've seen bank runs. We've seen people try to get their money out, and only the first 1% of people could, and the rest were left scratching their heads. So what can you do now if you realize that, by the way, they discontinued this? This is back in 2021, February. They even stopped saying how much they're printing. This chart was before they stopped discontinuing it. Imagine how much it's grown since then. So, last night I gave off a prize. I still have to research because I cannot even find the information, how much was printed in the last month. So, it's actually going to be higher than 80%. So here you can see that this is very, very timely, sensitive information. And I, as a joke, put a $100 bill here in Canada to show you that that's a new $20 bill. Just like in Canada, they got rid of the penny, and the smallest coin you can use now is a 5-cent coin. They're going to get rid of pretty much all coins. They're all going to get rid of all cash, because we are heading towards a cashless society. And so this is to show you that that's a Canadian note, but this is the US money supply on the screen. And you can actually see, if you go to usdebtclock.org right now, if you don't believe me, you'll see the numbers moving like rapid fire. Every millisecond is rising constantly, and it has been. And why I'm bringing this up right now is because I've been trading since I was 10. And I can tell you, I've been paying attention for a long time how much the money supply and debt is situation in the United States. And myself personally, just like a couple of years ago, we're at 20 to 23 trillion dollar national debt, which is the number in the top left corner here. And you can see that we've exceeded 30 trillion. Why does that matter? Does 30 trillion not sound like a really round number? 30 trillion is the level that I was paying attention, saying, you know what? I don't even think we'll be able to get to 30 trillion before the whole Ponzi collapses. Yet here we are, already exceeded 30 trillion, where I'm telling you that the people that are smart are ringing their alarm bells and straight up panicking, saying this is the final signal, the final nail in the coffin to tell those countries to start racing each other to get rid of their US dollars. And to make matters worse, as if 30 trillion isn't bad enough, that's just the debt. That's not including the unfunded liabilities like pensions, like paying people that promised they're going to deliver that payment in the future. That's another 100 trillion on top of that. So in other words, they're at the point now where they cannot repay it, because even the interest alone on borrowing now it will be higher than 100% of the income tax. So you can actually see per citizen, we're already at $91,000 per every man, woman, child, and baby in the United States to repay that. They're almost better off to just say, hey, we should have a great reset. Maybe we should bring in a backup currency. Sound familiar? So now you can see, even per taxpayer, not counting the babies, you're paying $242,000. That's like a lifetime of work for some people here to save up that much. Why would they do that? To bail out their country that's been foolishly spending money. And speaking of spending money, they've now just recently exceeded their deficit over 1.0 trillion officially. that's another hint and flag and nail in the coffin. So, that's just an idea. Go to check it out, usdebtclock.org, and then realize that empires come and go. History repeats. And those that study history are doomed to watch everyone else repeat it. So here you can see that we've got two charts. The first one on the left shows every empire going back like 600 years. You can see we started with China. We had Netherlands taking the dominant role for a while up here. And then it was replaced, but when that empire started to collapse, UK became the dominant empire. That's why we had colonization everywhere. That's why New York City are the highest buildings in North America, because they're closest to the UK. However, now we see on the decline of the UK, we saw the emergence of the US dollar as the world dominant reserve currency. It was backed by the petrodollar. It had a lot of gold at the time, and people believed that it was really backing gold, the currency. So they remain to this day the most dominant currency on the planet. What do you see happening now? It's already peaked. It's already starting to decline, and it's still trajecting steeply downward. Meanwhile, look at China's red line pointing upward, just to point that out. So, you could technically start seeing pretty soon. Don't be surprised if everyone starts driving bicycles in the United States and Hummers in China, although Hummer is no longer producing. But you get my point. So there is a hint. You can actually see during an empire's collapse, which we've seen time and again, like Roman times, where soldiers, by the way, got paid 1/10 of an ounce of silver per day to be a soldier, 1/10 of an ounce. Today, you could pick that up for less than $5. That's just an idea. If you convert that to minimum wage, you're looking at hundreds of dollars per ounce. So anything below $100 for silver is stealing it, basically. But it's the most artificially suppressed asset in history. And here's why. When an empire goes down, the last thing to drop, that's the chart on the right. What is it? It's this black line. So you can see it's the last thing to fall steeply, and that is the currency, the reserve FX status. So keep in mind that by the time the currency is like Venezuela on the street, it's too late to do something about it. But we are already seeing the warning signs for the United States declining in terms of significance and dominance and as a world power, unless they even create their own replacement, like a digital US dollar, CBDC, central bank digital currency. Even that means still that the dollar as you know it, the greenback, the piece of paper that I have in my hand here, I can no longer even spend this. So be aware that the alternative, there is a solution, and this has been the solution that's been for 5,000 years. People just forgot that this used to back US dollars in 1971 and no longer after that. So what you can do is realize that there's actually multiple uses. So gold in particular has investment and monetary use, while silver actually has investment, monetary, like coins, and also industrial use. There's 10,000 uses of silver at least. It's in electronics. It's like the best conductor of electricity. Gold too, but it's a little bit expensive to put into electronics. So they rather use silver. And it's in even clothing. It has antibacterial properties. There's many, many uses. Look it up, because we're going to do a separate call once to show all of the reasons why I prefer silver over gold in particular. But you can also look up the gold to silver ratio if you're interested. So definitely there's ways to do it. But what ways do you think are the best to buy gold and silver before we get to the cheapest way? So drop a comment in the chat. Which one of these 5 do you think is the best, second best, third best, or worst way? I'm curious to see what you guys think before I say it. So the first example here, we got jewelry. You can wear it around your neck. That's cool. You can gift it. In India, it's pretty much the only gift you give at weddings. So wedding season matters for the price of gold. But it's very expensive. You're paying for a lot of the artwork and talent going behind creating it. And it's usually mixed with other metals that are less valuable. and it's not very large. So number two is you can invest in mining stocks, like on the stock market, on the Toronto Stock Exchange, on the US stock market. The problem is on the stock market, your company is prone to, if the entire stocks fell on the entire index, yours will get dragged down with it, even though your company is doing well. Even if the price of gold doubles, can a mining company still go bankrupt? If the manager took out a bad loan or didn't pay his bills or something, yes, the company can still go bankrupt, even though the price of gold is doubling or silver. So be careful with PE ratios. Just means price to earnings ratio, meaning that, you know, if it's trading at 20 times PE ratio, you need to wait 20 years to double your money for that company's stock, if that's how you're going to invest in gold. It's not my favorite either, and neither is jewelry, by the way. But then there's ETFs. So ETFs are exchange traded funds, but there's no guarantee that they will deliver you any gold or silver. It actually says that. It always has. Recently, last year, they changed the rule. They wrote in, actually, it's not that we may not deliver it. Actually, we will not deliver any gold and silver. That's what they actually wrote into ETFs. And there's also a thing where it's subject to contango, which just means that every month in the future, gold prices have a different price. If I got to give you gold tomorrow, or I got to give you gold in a year from now, or got to give you gold 2 years from now, you're going to pay a different price, because it's expected to go up in value, because they're expecting the shopping cart to be able to buy you less goods, because they're printing more and more, even faster, to the point where they discontinued telling you how much they're printing. So they're assuming that you're going to have to pay more for gold a year from now than a month from now. And so these ETFs, they only buy the next 1 month contract forward, meaning they have to sell February's price of gold and buy March's price of gold, which is a little bit more expensive. And the fund actually loses a couple dollars every month because of that change in price. So don't worry about that too much, because the long story short is I hate ETFs, especially for long term, especially for commodities like gold and silver. So that leaves us two more options. It looks like number 4 and 5 are actually number 1 and 2. So if you drop that in the comment, you're right. The closest thing to physical gold is the commodity futures contract. So there's no PE ratio. It's literally the price of the metal in the ground represented by a piece of paper, and those papers are traded. In gold, it's 100 ounces of gold per contract, and in silver, it's you got 5,000 ounces of silver, and for oil, it's 1,000 barrels. So those ones I do trade, because we get, even though it's paper, at the same time, you can trade with leverage. I get about 16 times leverage. If I put, $10,000, I can trade with $160,000 of those paper representations of the metal in the ground, and I don't have to worry about delivering it and picking it up. So, but you know what? I like having it in my hand. And this is why I gave you a hint with the picture. So number 5 is actually number 1. That's physical, tangible, meaning it's in my hand. Real estate is tangible, art is tangible, but physical precious metals, you always, like as good as gold. You've got so many sayings, like silver lining in the cloud. And there's, even Bitcoin, they're saying now, is the digital gold. So there's the gold standard in people's minds, because there's just a natural tendency. It must be something that is shiny, that it also has some physical magnetic effect on us to make us more healthy. It basically is something that has been, I believe, will continue to be in demand no matter what happens for people around the world. So yeah, if it's not in your hand, it's not yours. So now that we've established that that's probably the best way to get some physical metal because you want to buy it, then the question comes to where do you go to buy it? So there's a couple options. Now, these two particular examples are not what I recommend. So I just want to get that out of the way first. Okay, mintbuilder.com. I've been researching companies for decades. Always curious, where can I go to get this stuff? Because could there even perhaps be a business opportunity where I can write off my expenses and still have a compensation by helping other people know where to go buy gold and silver. And Mint Builder is one solution. The prices are not terrible either. However, there is a problem if you're looking to do it as a side hustle, as a comp plan. The compensation plan only goes 5 levels deep from last time I checked. The problem with this kind of compensation plan is it's not a scam, but it is very, very misleading, because the way businesses grow, you typically don't have the very first person you talk to that's going to come up to you and say, I would like to buy 10 million ounces of gold, please, or silver. So what happens is you'll typically introduce some friend who may know a friend, who then talks to his business partner, who talks to his big business partner, and then he tells someone that goes and buys lots of it. But this company only pays 5 levels deep. So that means they cut you off there, meaning you're not going to earn a single commission on that person that came in that was finally buying lots of silver and lots of gold. I'm talking ridiculous amounts. So, that's not the greatest compensation plan. So I'm not really interested in Mint Builder because of that skewed 5 levels deep. Even if I had a following of 10 million people, then that might work, because then they're going to tell 20 million people and then you can get paid on 5 levels deep. But unless you're an influencer, it doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. So then I had a friend reach out to me, say, Robert, I need you to come and help me interview the CEO and partners of the founders of this new company that's pretty recent, basically came out last year, said it's called 7K Metals. 7K Metals. The problem with this one, I'll just tell you really quickly. You can see on the picture, there's... Oh, we're going to mute you guys. So basically, we can see here that we've got 2 different kinds of metals. We've got the round coin, that's 999 pure silver and gold, 99.9% pure metal. I'm not paying for any kind of mixed, metals with it. And I'm also not paying for these plastic containers that are collector coins. They're graded. They have a good condition, and I'm paying for the condition of the coin. I'm not interested in the condition of the coin to pay $400 for a coin that I can buy for $30 of pure metal content. Regardless of a 1 ounce coin in the case or 1 ounce coin not in the case, it's still 1 ounce of silver. I don't want to pay $400 for it. I'd rather pay $30 for it. So this compensation plan, I asked, I like that you can earn points and to put that towards free silver and gold, but only if you buy one of those every month and you get other people to buy those, $400 collector, which is the going rate on the market. But the problem is it's not the metal. That's all I'm really after. So I did ask, that what is the situation with those coins that are just the pure metal content? Do you have those? They said, yes, we do. Absolutely. Oh, great. Okay, I'm interested again. So how many points would I earn if I got a customer for you to buy those, because they were actually at fair prices? They passed on the savings from the mints. Well, we cannot give you any points for those because we don't have any profit margins. So you're telling me I only earn points for those collector ones that are $400, but 0 points for those ones that I actually am interested in. So then 7K Metals was a big no for me. And that's not the only company that was a no for me. So I'm going to show you now why I've been researching this for a long time, because as you know, I've been telling people for decades to buy silver just because it's smart to do so. So what I'm going to do quickly here is I'm going to share my screen and show you actually something else that you can do instead. So right now, if I go here, you can see, first of all, what did I see in 2008? That was the last time that I looked for sort of a company where I could tell my friends, hey, you may want to consider getting out of US dollars because I just have a bad feeling. So I found this website. By the way, it's also no good. It's Silver Snowball. And this is to give you an example. You can see here that there's a coin here. You can divide it up into 4 if you like. But here's the problem. Back in that year, you can see the price of silver was $13 in 2008. Okay, so here's the London price, January, February. You can see it's about $14 to $15 to $16 depending which month you look at, okay? Now, if the price of silver at the time was $14, but they're saying, you know, how much do you think this coin costs? And that's for 1 ounce, by the way. You can see this one, it was actually not going for $14. They were asking, I got this from way back time machine on the web to show you what they were saying at that time. And you can see that it was $35.50 US. Double, more than double the actual price of silver. So I could not ethically join. I could not tell a single person to join because I knew that if I do a presentation such as this and one person puts their hand up and says, but Mr. Robert Padyk, why could I not go to eBay and just buy it for $13.50? I knew I would be red-faced, have no answer, and look like a fool. I would have to say, you're absolutely right. Go to eBay and buy it for $13.50. I don't know why you would pay double, because there's a attached compensation plan that, you know, if you do tell 5 people to buy it too, you can get yours for free, but that's not ethical because those 5 people are going to struggle when they eventually run out of people. So I decided not to ever join a program that charges 50% to 100% more than the price of the actual metal. And that's, to make matters worse, $35 wasn't for 1 ounce. Did you notice how big the coin was at the top of the screen? You're going to start noticing things when you're coming to WealthTribe calls. It's not 1 ounce, it's half an ounce. So if you go actually today to the post office or you know, you try to buy even at the bank some coins, you're going to see colorful ones. You're going to see some of them going for $70 right now. Still, they're trying to charge double. Okay. And people, oh, it's beautiful coin, I'm going to buy it. But Robert said, wait a second, don't worry about the color. In fact, don't even worry if it looks tarnished and ugly because it's dirty. That has zero implication on the value of the silver metal content. It's still silver metal content. In fact, it's better if you don't wash it. Okay, keep it dirty. I'll still buy it off you if I have funds, and I'll always have a market for it. Even back in 1933, when they made it illegal to own gold and silver, people still didn't confiscate it to the voluntarily for $35 per ounce. And now gold is $2,000 per ounce. So the point is, this project was also a big no, but it's just to show you my thinking behind why was I interested in something like this? Because if the price was just $13.50 at the time for 1 ounce, but they were charging $15.50, just a small profit margin, that would have been reasonable enough for me to say, guess what? We got a business here. We can tell everyone to start being smart and start buying sound money. And someone asked what's sound money. Is because it's, you can hear it if you touch it, if you bang on it. It's sound money because it's real money. You can, in your hand. Okay, so if you can charge $1 or $2 more, but you can get a business out of it, and now you can help other people accumulate points towards free silver, now you're talking. So I've been searching for this for decades, but I could never find one. I was sadly disappointed in this one, and I just gave up. Until my friend asked me to come and check out this new 7K metals last year, and I said, please don't do it. She didn't listen, but she still bought a couple coins, but I said, don't do the business, don't encourage other people to do it, and she agreed. Now, in order to see if there's anything out there, because it's been a decade, I actually went out on a search. I went on a hunt. I went out onto the web. I scoured the entire internet. And guess what? I have good news for you. I actually found one that is not bogus, that is not charging 50% or 100% double the price of silver, which we cannot tell people to do because you can just go to eBay. I actually found one company that is actually selling silver coins that are pure 999 metal, not this special collector coin for $400. It's just the $33 coin for $33. It's actually cheaper than eBay. You could actually buy it for 33 from this company and sell it for 36 on eBay, a lot of the coins. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you that right now. Okay. So the company I'm referring to, it's actually called, if you want to go check it out, I believe we have a link for that. It will be thrivesilver.com. Okay, so no problem. So thrivemetlas.com. If we could have someone type that in the chat, that would be great for everyone, because that's where you're going to be able to thrivemetals.com. So if you go to www.thrivemetals.com, just give it a few moments. We're setting that up right now. Then you will be able to We'll come back to that in a second, okay? But I'm going to show you what it looks like, because we actually have there the ability to show you what it will look like when it's up and running, all right? Okay, so what's going to happen is this is what you're going to happen in a few minutes. You go to thrivemetals.com and you're going to see this couple of videos. So go watch the videos. You'll be able to see here that on the second area here, you can actually see every month they publish the price of the coin. And it's right now very, very fair. Oh boy, I have pictures. I was just at the store the other day and I have a picture saying sold out. I actually sold my silver to the store. I have pictures of this. I have to put that in my presentation. So you can see, if you click this button, you can see every single month, what are the coins of that particular month for auto ship? And it keeps rotating. Always you get different kinds of coins. It's cool, varying different collections. Here you can see right now we got the Canadian maple leaf, which is one of the most famous on the planet coin to get. You're getting that one. You can see it's not 999, it's quadruple 9 fine silver, which is even more pure we're talking here. So all of these are 99.9% silver. That's all I'm interested in. When there's no food in the grocery store, I can pay someone one of these coins and I can probably eat for a whole week. Okay, but right now you can get it for the price of one meal. Okay, so this is something where, by the way, you're not buying a product. You're taking fiat garbage toilet paper and turning it into sound money that you can then spend. And you can convert back into fiat if you want, or you probably 3 times more or 10 times more. But also you're going to see that you'll always be able to exchange it for, if no one's accepting paper money anymore, maybe you can exchange your silver for goats, cows, and milk, right? So you can always see that. So you'll be able to come to this website, check it out. They actually donate meals, speaking of food, to charity. For every transaction that we do here, you get not just points for every transaction. It's basically an e-commerce store. They do all the delivery. You don't ever have to worry about it. If you buy from your own store, you're earning 10 points for every 1 ounce coin that you get on the auto ship. If anyone else buys from your store, you're also earning 10 points for every single coin. Now, guess how much it costs to have a business like this? Because normally businesses are, several $100s just to start, and every month, $10 per month is the price to have this business, this e-commerce shop where they do all the delivery for you. And if anyone buys from your shop, you're still earning 10 points. The minimum, you also have to buy 1 coin yourself, but that's a no-brainer. Even if someone's on minimum wage, they should be putting, again, 10 to 20 to 30% of their savings immediately into physical tangible metal. But even at 10%, that's $200. That's about 6 coins of silver every month, okay, that they should be buying if you're on minimum wage. So this is life-changing stuff we're talking here, because people are going to be able to see that now, let's say someone goes to your store and they're like, I would like one of my own stores. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to pay $10 a month. They're going to have their own store. Do you still earn points when they buy from their own store? The answer is yes. In fact, if anyone buys from their store, you get volume points on their purchases also. Now, here's the good news. This company is very young. It's less than a couple years old, and they're just getting traction now. To show you how early the timing is, as if it's not a good enough bonus that you can buy coins. Literally, I'm not even going to click on them. You can just go yourself, because depending on when you're watching this video, you can just click on shop and you can see the different coins that they have. All right. And you can see the prices. And by the way, get the member pricing. So you're going to go to the website, watch the videos, click on getting started, and become a wealth ambassador. Now you're going to get into a compensation plan where you're earning points on everyone's purchases. And you get discounts too. So you can see they're starting to have gold coins now too. You got 1/10 of an ounce here. And you can see if you compare any of these coins on eBay, you're going to see that they're actually more expensive. Okay, so you're getting points and you're helping people save money on saving real sound money for the first time, perhaps in their life. So that's basically the important thing to note here, is that you can check out these prices, do your comparison shopping. Yes, you can still buy some of these collector coins, the graded coins. You can still get those here. And you can see some of them can cost $250. Those are the ones that they require you to purchase. By the way, a lot of these, look at this, Black Panther. And I actually just bought some for gifts for nieces and nephews. You got cartoons, you got Lion King, you got different cool stuff to teach kids Wolverine to start collecting and being smart and saving, not money under the mattress, like we saw what will happen to that. And you just sends to your house. Even in different countries, it's global, this company. It ships it everywhere. I receive it in 10 days from the Florida Saratoga, is where the company is based out of. The couple is, they have a master's degree in business. They're a Polish couple. They're very, very ethical people. In fact, they're so generous that they say that if you sign up in your first 30 days and get the challenge pack, to show you what that is, you just go to the main website that you'll be at www.thrivemetals.com, and you can go down to, you can see here, you just click on get started and become a wealth ambassador. That's making sure that you get into the comp plan. And then you want to go down to not option 1, which is just the coins. You want to go to option 2. Because right now, the company, I found it accidentally because my friend was asking me about a different company. I found this one that's better for everyone's sake. You can see that they give you a challenge box. Now, I love this business model. I don't love paying double the price of metal. I love people paying cheaper than what they're used to paying on eBay, where they don't even know if it's fake. These guys buy it from reputable, directly from the mints in bulk. They never run out of supply, and they never price gouge. So what they do instead is they say, we would like you to please buy this challenge pack. It comes with a nice box that you can store your coins. And yes, the box is probably not worth the $130. But the point is that you can actually see that that's their business model. They make money on the box one time only, and that's it. After that, you can increase or decrease your monthly, how many coins you're buying, and you're only paying for the coins. The $10 per month for the business and minimum 1 coin per month. And that's allowing you now to accumulate all the points from all the purchases from all the people creating stores. And what's the timing of the company? Well, I'll give you an example. There was a competition recently that occurred in this organization just the other day. And you can see here that they had a promo, because this company is so generous. They keep having promos. In fact, I have some of the silver here in my hand that I didn't even buy. It's free already. Okay, these two I bought. This one is free. And there's a collector one in here, and there's also some smaller coins. So I'll be making a video of when I open those up. But the point is, you can see the final standings of the February 2022 promo, which was just actually last month. You can see my name here as number 3. I'm in 3rd place. I wasn't even trying to win. I actually accidentally didn't know I was on the list. Okay, because it just makes sense to buy silver, to have sound money, have real savings, not in the bank where they can basically lock the front door and say, sorry, you can only pull out $50 per day out of your ATM if their power is turned on. So here you can see that out of the entire organization in February 2022, there were only 60 individuals that decided not just, oh, I'm going to buy silver for myself, because people know that stacking is important. If you want to stack, you already know why. It's like when someone goes to buy a car, they know what they want to buy already. So here you can see that we've got, out of 60 people, you know what that means? As if it's not good enough that we're first to find this company, the timing is such that we could actually be the biggest. Even if you join any time this year and you're watching this video later in the year, you still have any time in 2022 to be easily the biggest in this entire organization and basically have a monopoly. So yes, I did win this prize, the 3rd place prize. That's what they just sent me. And it's so many nice, generous promos that the company does. So, going back to this PowerPoint here, you can see from this slide, don't go mint builder, don't go 7K metals. The prices are not fair. They don't give you points. They don't give you multiple levels. This company, they actually pay you infinite levels deep. However many people join, it's a binary. You just have to keep paying your monthly fee and you're good. And you can actually see that they're very, very generous. And you can actually see that it's easy to get people to stack silver because there's people that are always looking for it. Here's a couple examples of groups I found on Facebook. I did an experiment before I told anyone about this. I went out to a group. I added myself to this 13,000 member group where people constantly post stuff for sale. And by the way, they charge, that's the auction, right? So you can see that I went in there and I messaged two random individuals. They just asked, where do I go to buy silver? It's my first time. And I just messaged them the link. I didn't even say anything. I just gave them the link to the landing page. And I've never spoken to them since. A year later, they're still buying silver because I can see it in my back office. I haven't even spoken to them. So people understand the value of having sound money that are like me, that have been buying it for decades. And people are very, very, you'll see that they're going to realize, holy crap, I should be stacking. And a lot of people are competitive. They buy as much as they can because they realize that the paycheck, it doesn't go up as quick as the shopping cart goes down. So, that's just to give you an idea of what this is. So if you're interested in this, you do want to go to, what's it called? ThriveMetals.com. It's just spelled Thrive, THIRVE, or RIVE rather, THRIVE, metals.com. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can also reach out to me. And we are in the community on, we have a hub. We have our own like Facebook, social media network. You can go check us out there. And also, you can also, if you want to get in touch with me, please feel free to do so. You can do so by just going to www.robertpadyk.com. You can schedule a free, no obligation, 100%, no pressure call with me. Sit down and chat. robertpadyk.com. Just book an hour with me. Let's sit down and see how can we get you started in silver, because I don't like the jewelry. I don't like the ETFs or the mining stocks as much. I prefer physical in my hand. And one quick disclaimer, please do not tell people where you store it. At the same time, definitely do not store it in the bank, in the safety deposit box, because when, that's just asking for them to take it. Okay, so you need to make sure. I've seen there was a crime scene and they said it's all evidence and they need to confiscate it all. I've seen people in 1933, they had to have a government representative to allow you to open your box. And if there was any gold, they confiscated it. So make sure you store it somewhere where nobody knows. And you'll be definitely glad you did, because I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, not financial advice, but if someone sold their house and put all their funds into silver, they would be surprised maybe that soon they may be able to buy 10 houses or one house that's 10 times bigger. And so I hope that you guys enjoyed this presentation. I hope you learned something. I didn't have pictures of me walking into the store, but I assure you it's people that are always willing to buy off you, because there's understanding that this has been proven to be money for 5,000 years. And yes, I also believe in cryptocurrency, but I also know that, you want to have a mix. You want to have a diversification just in case there's some issues with the internet or power or something like that, and have physical metal, even in multiple countries. If you start to get to some serious quantities, you want to have the ability to move to another country and have it waiting for you there. It's a good idea. We may in Thrive in the future consider doing some storage facilities for people to do that in multiple countries. So tomorrow there is a WealthTribe call for those that are on the call live at 10 a.m. PST. Same link, thriveevolution.live. You want to not miss out their WealthTribe call, where we also talk digital currencies. So it's not like I'm just all about metal, but absolutely you're insane if you do not have any metal whatsoever. In fact, I used to tell people 10 and 20 years ago that they should have 10 and 20% of their net worth in physical tangible metal. And that's only increased since I've already seen banks talking about doing bail-ins. If you don't know what that is, then you absolutely need to buy silver. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. So you can go ahead and stop the recording. And we'll go into some questions.